What's up, people? I had the Rifleman on for a couple episodes. Taking a break. I was recording for 8 hours and started around 8 o'clock in the morning and recorded till about 4. So watching a couple Rifleman episodes, good episodes. You could learn a lot from watching this old Western show. So I'm gonna take a little break. I gotta talk really quietly because I'm doing vocals tonight, and I don't want my voice to be shot. So I have a new album that will be available for pre-order August 14th. And it's dropping October 14th. It's 8 songs. I've been putting in 10 hours a day working on this album. Some of the songs, are there's already demos out there, like Shadow Mountain is going to be on this album, but it's completely redone. It sounds 100 times better. Hold Me Like a Gun, all the vocals redone, remixed, did the EQ, the levels, everything. Jenna's in a Paper Dress, fixed that, just made that sound way better. And then there's going to be 3 songs on the album no one's heard of. There's going to be 3 songs on this album that nobody's heard of the songs. So, not really new. I know somebody commented and they were asking if I'm Gonna Be There is a new song. They commented, did you write that recently? And no. That's a song that I used to play with my band, Hold Me Like a Gun. I wrote that song 20 years ago. Wrote that song a long time ago. I'm gonna sit down. Yeah, I really have to. I know I'm live right now, but I am technically in a break. And I turned my computer off. It was on for so long. So I'm just going to sit here and give an update on the album. So I put in so much work on these songs. Jenna's in a Paper Dress. I've been working on that song for 4 months. Take It All Back. I've been working on that song for like 5 months. Shadow Mountain, I started that song last year. So I've been working on that song for over a year, and it's just that whole middle section, that instrumental break in the middle, it's all so different now, and it sounds so much better. That song redid a lot of vocals for Shadow Mountain. Basically, I'm going through each track, and all 8 songs on this album, regardless if you like that type of music or not, it doesn't even matter, because it's gonna at least sound good. It's gonna be listener friendly. It sounds so produced. Even though I'm just about to publish this album, it's like I already feel like the album's done, even though it's not, because I'm doing vocals tonight. And 7 of the 8 songs are done, are completed 100%. And so now this last song, which I've never recorded before, is the last song to record. It's very pop. It's very like pop punk. So there's not a lot of, there's no guitar solos really, and there's no nothing too rhythmatic. It's nothing complicated. It's a very straightforward pop song. So I'm hoping, knock on wood, that this last song is easy, and I'm thinking I'm actually going to be able to finish it tonight. I've been working on drums off and on for this 8th song. This album's going to sound good. I'm going to drop... Hey, Ginge. Hey, Ginger, we were hanging out today, too. I was saying, what if she was like 50 feet or 100 feet tall? She would be big enough to eat cars and Jeeps. And then I said, well, you want to eat metal. She doesn't like to eat metal, so she'd eat trees. And then I said, you probably eat me. I was talking to Ginger for like 30 minutes today. Okay, so... I'm going to drop the title. I'm going to actually drop promo videos of the title of the album, because it has a title. It has an awesome title. It's not just the name of one of the songs. It has its own title. The title's genius. And I had my cousin do the artwork for it. And he drawed this image for this album by hand, and it looks really nice, and then he ran it through an image processor. So it's like super, super clean, but it is also original artwork. It's also it's not AI created. It's original artwork, but he did run it through whatever he ran it through. So I feel unusually calm because I've been putting in 8 to 10 hours a day on this album for almost a month now. And a lot of these songs I put in a lot of hours for 5 months ago, 6 months ago, like when I did Shadow Mountain, Take It All Back, Jenna's in a Paper Dress. All Things Shall Pass will be on the album with the vocals. And that's taken a really long time to get the levels right and just to get it sounding good. So All Things Shall Pass, it's the music is incredible, and I do like the vocals, but I'm kind of with the melody line, it's okay, I'm not rapping on the song. Okay. I'm just going to say that now. I'm not rapping, but there is sort of like a 90s rhythmatic kind of reggae-ish like alternative. You know how, alternative rock bands in the 90s, like these dudes were like almost rapping, but they weren't rapping. They're kind of singing, but rapping. I'm kind of doing that in this song. And it does get a little islander. It gets a little reggae. But the choruses are super 80s new wave post-punk. So the song lyrically, and as far as the melody line goes, it's all over the place. I mean, it doesn't dramatically jump frequencies, but it does, like, the verses have a different vibe than the chorus. And it absolutely goes, but it's still... Especially the last verse, it's like almost like, where did that come from? But in a relaxing way, not in a shocking way, but in a like you'll be jamming to the song, and then like towards the end of the song, the last verse, you're gonna listen to the last verse and go like, what the fuck? Like, where did that come from? Like the lyrics, it it's going here, and then it goes here for the choruses, and it goes here again, then it kind of goes here for the chorus, and then it goes like fucking like that, you know what I mean? So, and I'm almost still thinking about taking out that last verse and just having the music. But you know what? I'm gonna leave it. I'm kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. It's got a little bit like Snoop Dogg vibes. I'm not gonna lie. It almost has Snoop Dogg vibes. It's very urban. Um, it's like smoking pot at the beach energy. And I'm not, I don't know if I'd say I'm pro cannabis, but obviously a lot of people who know me knows that I was in the cannabis industry for a long time, and I smoked, a lot of weed. I was always pro weed, and I was always very like open and communal. Is that a word? I was the guy that would like roll up and smoke everybody out, basically, like people I don't even know. Okay, so that's how I rolled in my 20s. Okay, where's the party? Cool. Where's everyone smoking weed in the garage? Okay, that's where I am. That's where I was. So I was, I smoked weed for 10 years before I ever got into the business. So it wasn't like, a lot of people just trying to make easy money. I was actually part of the culture. So, and I worked at a dispensary like 4 years ago, So, but that was different. That was a dispensary. Okay. What I'm talking about was I was driving around selling 5-6 pounds to fucking street dealers and shit when it was still illegal. That's what I mean by what I was in the marijuana industry. And the dispensaries opened up, and then price integrity changed, and all of a sudden you have people going, "Oh, this is top shelf," and it's not. Just because you got it in a fucking jar, just because you got it in a jar and it's sitting in a store and literally at the top shelf, and it has a really cool name, and the store's really cool, and there's fucking reggae playing and shit, doesn't mean it's top shelf. It's like that whole atmosphere thing where you go to a bar and you're wondering if you're even drinking Jack Daniels. Like, what is actually in that Jack Daniels bottle? Okay, so now I know there's a lot of good cannabis at dispensaries. Okay, I know there's every now and then there's some really good stuff that comes through. But let's be honest, most dispensaries have the weeds. I don't know. It's just like mids that they're calling top shelf, basically. Okay, and especially in Portland, no offense, but I saw that a lot in Portland. I know California's a little different. California's going to have 3 or 4 different strains that are truly top shelf at the dispensaries. But anyways, I had the best weed for the best price, and everybody knew it. And that's because the grower was the best. And we had High Times come and do interviews on our indoor operations. You couldn't fucking grab a nug and just break it in fucking 1,000 pieces. The shit was solid. The trichomes were fucking incredible. It was the gackiest bud anywhere, and this is why whenever I had it, people would buy me out, and I would try my hardest to save at least a quarter pound for basically me and my friends, so we had something to fucking smoke, because people would just roll over with, "Hey, here's 10,000. I want everything you fucking have. This shit is fucking gas." And so I had like 3 or 4, dealers, and they all try to buy me out, so I had to be like, try to give some to everybody. I don't know why the fuck am I talking about cannabis all of a sudden. I'm supposed to be talking about my album. Okay, so anyways, yeah, if if you're around, like 13, 14 years ago, where I was living. And if you knew me then you know that I had, really good weed. And so anyways, I feel unusually calm. I've put so many hours in this album, and it's sounding so dialed. But I'm not wrecked. I don't have anxiety. I don't feel wrecked. I don't feel emotional or anything about this album. I feel, and I thank God for that, because I feel an undercurrent of serenity. And I'm at like literally the tail end. I just did all the final touches on the other 7 songs the last 3 days, 10 hours a day, just dissecting each track, making sure everything's perfect, going in my truck, making sure no vocal or there's no guitar part that just like pops out too loud. Everything is, especially the Time of Flowers. Like, I thought the Time of Flowers was done 3 days ago, and I spent another 4 hours on it today. And I was like, fuck, I'm glad I did, man. I fixed the EQ on some stuff. I just made that song sound so much better. And I thought it was done 3 days ago. It was so much better 3 days ago. Like, damn, this sounds really good. I'm in my truck, I'm driving around. This sounds so much better than the version on 5, and which is my 6-song EP. I like it. Okay, so the Time of Flowers on 5, I like it. But the way it sounds now is way better. I mean, like, on 5, all the levels are just kind of all over the place. Now it's just all the instruments and the vocals. It's just like one even sound. So anyways, that song sounds freaking incredible. And then Jenna's in a Paper Dress. Like, I fucked with the EQ on the bass, and I kind of lowered the master a little bit and just made everything sound more balanced. So that's going to be re-released, and it's going to sound way better on this album. I actually also releasing Jenna's in a Paper Dress on a 3-song EP that's dropping in 3 days. Jenna's in a Paper Dress, Take It All Back, and I'm Gonna Be There. Those songs, like Take It All Back sounds 100 times better. Jenna's in a Paper Dress sounds a lot better than the demo I released a couple months ago. I'm Gonna Be There is great, but and you'll be able to hear these songs in 3 days, but on the album these songs are gonna sound even way better. I know, I feel like I'm putting the carrot in front of everybody's nose, just leading people, come on, but it's a process, it takes time. And I could honestly say I've spent 1.5 years on this album that's dropping in October 14th. Because if you count songs like Shadow Mountain and I'm Gonna Be There, I wrote that song 20 years ago. I played that song hundreds of times live. And all of that comes into play when recording, the masterpiece. So anyways, these 8 songs, I like Dark Country. Dark Country is like, that album, is kind of like, oh, that's cool, or oh, that's interesting. You listen to, you're like, oh, that's neat, or whatever. There's a couple songs that are really solid, like all the way through, like Orange Night, Priest and Apostate. Do You. There's like 3 or 4 songs on that album I thoroughly, I'm happy with, from start to finish. But, the album it's very vibey, Dark Country, it's like a vibe. And I feel like you have to be in a certain vibe, like depressed and alone to enjoy it. No, I'm just kidding. But, so yeah, Dark Country's great and everything. Link in the bio on Instagram. Purchase that anytime you want. 9-song album. Physical copy sounds straight up live. Because the way we recorded that, it was live. Everything was just fast and live. So it basically sounds live. It sounds good. 5 is great. 5 is a 6-song EP. 5 is very much a party album or EP. I like 5. It's a 6-song EP. But this album that's dropping in October, it's so much more polished than everything I've released in the last couple of years. It really is. And I haven't even, everything I've dropped, Take It All Back, Jenna's in a Paper Dress, all the little videos I've been putting on Instagram, that's not even the final That's not even the track that's going to be on the album. It sounds even way better than that. Um, so, anyways, my goal is, obviously, we're going to have this up for pre-order August 14th. 8-song full length album, because it's only 8 songs, but a lot of these songs are 4 minutes or longer, so you get a lot of minutes for only 8 songs. So yeah, I'm gonna be dropping this full length album. I'm so surprised I haven't dropped the name of the album yet, just talking about it. Stay away from my wife. Freaking Rifleman. I love the show. I could watch. I'll finish the song. I'll be recording for like 5 or 6 hours after this live, and then I'll be watching Rifleman for the rest of the night. So, because I don't sleep, because I'm a vampire. I don't eat or sleep. I just record music. I'm joking. Okay, so one song left. After this album, it kind of doesn't get this is about the best, this album's going to be really good. I can't hype it up enough. So I'm going to be recording, I'm going to try to do a music video for each song on this album. I'm literally going to try to do 8 music videos. Probably do a couple music videos this year. But definitely next year. But by this time next year, I want to have 8 music videos. Yeah, I want to do a music video for each song on this album, because each song is sounding so polished that I feel like it deserves a music video. So that's kind of like where I'm going to be putting my focus on. So after I drop this 8-song album, I'm going to just be working on music videos, putting out merch, because I'll basically be able to launch from this 8-song album, because every song sounds so perfectly good. So I'll basically be able to play shows, launch merch, and do music videos all from this album that I'm dropping in August. Because Dark Country 5 physical copies, those I know that's a lot of work and a lot of songs that are streaming right now. But from my perspective, everything that I've released in the last 2 years was kind of basically practice recording for what I'm going to be dropping next, my next album. All that shit I learned, for the last 2 years of recording, I'm putting all that information in this album, and you could really hear it. I might discontinue this live, because if I keep talking, my voice is going to get hoarse, and I have to do vocals tonight. And I'd probably talk too long anyways. I was told that if anyone's talking for longer than 5 minutes, they're either repeating themselves or they're full of shit. And it's actually true. Somebody told me that like 8 years ago. And I thought that's kind of an extreme thing to say. But if you literally listen to anybody talk for longer than 5 minutes, they will literally start repeating themselves, or they'll just be full of shit and they're just making stuff up, talking out of the side of their neck. So anyways, what are you doing, Ginger? I hear you scratching and pushing at doors and stuff. Come on. What are you doing? I don't want you licking the bathroom floor. Just took a shower. I don't want you licking the floor water. No, I don't like that. I was just thinking about stuff. I was just thinking, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm, recording music right now for it's it was, a hobby, and it literally in the last 2 months it's been turned into full-time work. 8 to 10 hours a day, notes, goals, documenting everything. I mean, I got notes on my phone, I got a notebook full of notes. I mean, everything is dated and organized. I have notes on notes, it's getting, I don't want to say easier, but it is feeling like work. And I talked to my producer friend like a year ago when I was in Laverne, California, and we talked for an hour. And this guy's been on a lot of albums. He knows a lot of people. He knows a lot of producers. He's in the scene majorly in LA. And he gave me so much advice. He basically told me what to do. And I'm doing it. And I'm doing everything he said, and there was like 100 fucking things. Now, I didn't do them right away. It took a while, but now, I am. And I'm going to be able to launch from this album, straight up. This album is sounding so good, and the name of the album and the image for the album, it's good enough to make merch, to tour. I could tour off this album, literally. I could play these 8 songs and like 2 covers and a couple new songs nobody's heard of, and I could play fucking 12 song sets, and I could fucking tour on this album. That's how good it is. I know we're supposed to be doing question and answer. I'm sorry, I'm just like rambling on and on and on. Okay, that's fine, because I put 7 o'clock at 6:30. I just couldn't wait. I have too much stuff to do. I'm glad I'm not a YouTuber for a living. That's for sure. Heat my coffee up. Can't believe it. Yeah, the album's basically done. I have one super simple pop song to record tonight, but I'm not overthinking it. It's fucking done. Like, I dialed in these 7 songs. They sound so fucking good. This album that I'm dropping in October, it's the kind of album where, like, I don't even need to record anything else for a year. Yeah, I'm sure I'll start another album early next year, but this album is going to be great. What was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about something. What was I going? I was going to talk about some things. I had some notes. I was some topics I've been into like 100 times. I'm not going to get into them, but how there's like bad food out there. All this processed food, and then they sell you medication. It gets a little old going over the same topics. It gets to the point where once you figure some shit out, it's just your personal responsibility to eat well and to take care of yourself, because there's these corporations. I'm not even sure if they're even human. They're so just out there. So that's what I was going to talk about. Was I'm gonna turn this down. I posted that video my friend recorded of my band, and she's would go to a lot of my concerts. I actually was in a band with her, and she was a singer, and we had like 3-4 songs. But anyways, that show she recorded, it was my female friend, and it was just the band and our girlfriends. So it was my girlfriend, Desiree, at the time, she was like a fixture at the shows. She was at all the shows. She was super hot, and it just made playing shows a lot easier because if I needed like a drink or something, Desiree was there to help. I forgot my guitar cable in the car. Can you get it? Can you go get the guitar cable? That kind of stuff. Or those people are cool. Why don't you go talk to them and invite them to the next show? Like people just loved Desiree. She's so fucking cool. She's Native American, so she's not to throw the race card, but Southern California is where we played. So to have a girlfriend that was brown, that looked like Mexican, but she wasn't Mexican. She's Native American. It helped. She could talk to anybody. Everybody liked her. She's really pretty. She had really good style. And so Desiree was there at the concert. Which is Nathan's wife now, Jess, she was at the concert. Anthony, I forget who he was dating, but he had a girlfriend at the concert. So it was us 3 bandmates playing in Newport Beach with 3 girlfriends. And then my female friend who recorded that video you saw. The bartender and 2 dudes at the bar. And that was it. That was all the people and the place was huge. It wasn't a Friday or Saturday night. We played at like whatever, on Tuesday or Wednesday. There might have been a few more people than that, but it felt like there was literally like 7 people in this gigantic bar in Newport Beach. This huge, one of these like mega bars, that could hold. The place was huge. For a bar, it was a large venue. But I remember that show because I remember we just had like a really good time, even though it was more or less a rehearsal. We just had fun. We played our fucking hearts out for like 7 people. And then I could go into some detail about some stuff that happened that night, but I don't want to. Anyways, it'd have to be a different platform or something, but it's, I don't want to incriminate anybody. No, but just nothing too bad, nothing, just our girlfriends are crazy, so, anyways, they basically, like, we were done playing and we were taking off our equipment. It's like, where's our girlfriends? And then they're like in the parking lot with the only 3 dudes at the place, and they're doing like fucking whatever. But anyways, it was a fun night. It was actually a really fun night. So what I should do? I should write like a journal down while I still can remember. So we played so many shows, and each Hold Me Like a Gun show, it was just such a powerful energy. It's such like the band had such a spirit to it that each show, although it was the same, whatever, 8 songs we played, just simple riff rock, just we were trying to sound like glam, and we were probably sounding more like pub rock than anything. But anyways, it's like we were like, our goal was to sound like Led Zeppelin, and we ended up sounding like Iggy Pop, basically. I don't have the best voice. I'm not a trained singer, and I'm a rhythm guitar player. Best part about that band was Anthony and Nathan. They're an incredible rhythm section. So anyways, each show was like its own like planet in a way. When I look back at it, I think, oh, that time we played at the Knitting Factory, and the time we played, at the fucking the Italian restaurant, at the time we played at Old Baldy Brewery. We played at Old Baldy Brewery a lot. We were there, I think, like once, like every other week for like a whole summer or something, but we played there a lot. But Old Baldy Brewery, God, that was a fucking party, man. And you know what? Because Upland, a lot of our friends were in the Inland Empire. So when we played at Old Baldy Brewery, which was in Upland, it's not there anymore, we would have 100 friends come to the show. And we all drank and partied. It was basically a party. It was an actual party. And a lot of people would come see our band. So we'd have 100 people come and see our show, and there would be like 30 or 40 people in the bar already. So we have, some videos, and the place, was packed. And it was a party band. But anyways, I was thinking that I actually played at how the hell did that happen? Because I don't do the business side of band stuff. That's what Justin did in the Discarded. I don't do that stuff. So Anthony got us to shows in the band. He was called the venues and everything. When I was in the Discarded, Justin did that shit. But anyways, I was thinking, I played at Old Baldy Brewery with Mike Holton from Save Ferris, original member Save Ferris. He wrote the song in 10 Things I Hate About You. I played at Old Baldy Brewery with Mike Holton and Josiah Adams, which was my bestie, my best friend, who I went to London with. Josiah and I would always hang out. But anyways, we played, and we had these Indian clothes on. We had Indian clothes on, like authentic, what Indian men wear. And we played at Old Baldy Brewery as Hold Me Like a Gun, before Nathan and Anthony were in the band. Because before Nathan and Anthony were in the band, like a year before they were in the band, Mike and Josiah were in Hold Me Like a Gun. And we were not called Hold Me Like a Gun, though. We were called the Ray Guns. So we were called the Ray Guns. So we played at Old Baldy Brewery as the Ray Guns, 3-piece. But some of the songs we played were Hold Me Like a Gun songs. Because, obviously I wrote all the songs in both bands. So Mike Holden was a huge influence on me, though. I mean, he really showed me a lot of incredible music. He was... At the time, he was, 12 or 15 years older than me. I was like 21, so he was in his early 30s, and he's already been in like a shitload of bands. He was actually in Lindley at the time we were in the Ray Guns. And Lindley, when they played, they would have a few hundred people. They were never famous, okay? Lindley was never like a famous band, but they were pretty big, where when they played shows, some of the shows would have, a lot of people would come to the show. Party band. That was Orange County. 20 years ago, Orange County, there was a huge hipster scene. Okay, I don't know how it is now, but 20 years ago in Anaheim, Fullerton, and it was like a lot of like wine shows and wine events at Newport and Santa Ana. We go to Lake Forest a lot. It's just like, there was like this whole hipster scene, especially in Fullerton. And I remember playing at the Hub, which is now Sidebar, but it used to be called the Hub. The same guy who owned the same guy who owned the Hub owned the Continental Room. And, but at that time, I was, 17 and 18 years old, playing with Josiah and our friend Jason Davis. And we'd play at the Hub coffee shop, because I wasn't 21. Like, they were both 21. Jason was like 22, Josiah was 21. And they would always like get to go to bars and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm at the coffee shop. I'm at the Hub playing fucking arcade games. But then when I was like 19, I had a fake ID, so I was able to, go to a lot of bars and stuff. It was that last, I'm telling you, I've been live on this before, and I posted on this. from 17 to 20, it was like right before cell phones. I mean, people had cell phones. Okay, people had cell phones 20 years ago, but there was still a lot of effing people that did not have cell phones. It wasn't like you didn't need a cell phone, you know, it was just extra. Okay, so, you know, I had a cell phone when I was 19, but it was a flip phone. You know what I mean? It's like, it was a flip phone. It like you could take maybe a picture with it. Can't even fucking see the picture. It's such like bad quality. You couldn't do video. There was no apps. So I had a flip phone, I remember when I was 19 for like 3 months. And then I didn't have a phone for like a couple of years and got a phone again when I was whatever, 21. But the vibe, like, you know, the vibe I'm talking about, the music scene I'm talking about 20 years ago, it wasn't revolving around the cell phone. You never saw people on their cell phones. You didn't know if anybody had a cell phone. You know, it was like not where now if you go to a concert, even if it's just a whatever 100 people concert, people have fucking phones and you know they have phones. Each time you see a person and you know they have a smartphone. And back in those days, the cell phone, the cellular, the cellular was not on your mind. It wasn't part of the mindset. So I was playing a lot of shows when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Go to Montana, get Desiree, pick up Desiree, drive her back. Okay. Or, yeah, I've lived in Montana for a while, so it wasn't like I just picked her up and drove her back. We decided to move back. Playing a lot of shows when I was 21 years old with Hold Me Like Gun, and I go to Montana. I live in Montana for whatever, a year. And I come back, 23, playing again a shitload of shows. Now I have a girlfriend, you know, a Native American, really attractive girlfriend, playing shows from like 23 to 24, even part of 24. And still, at that time, 17, 16 years ago, at 23, 24 years old, yes, I had a cell phone, Desiree had a cell phone, but it wasn't cell phone culture yet. Meaning we would go to clubs, we would go to a dance club in Hollywood once a week, like the same club on the same night, Desiree and I, with Daniel and his girlfriend, or whatever girlfriend he was dating at the time. And we would go to these clubs in LA, and I promise you, I don't even think I had the phone in my pocket. It's probably in my car, seriously. I didn't see any phones. We would be at a table with like 13 people, and we're all drinking drinks, and we're in a club. I never saw a phone at the table. I didn't have a phone. I don't know if Desiree had her phone on her, but there was no phone activity, even when I was 23, 24 years old. And I could honestly say that I am the last, me and my friends and everybody who was our age, 22, 23 years old, we were the last people in America and in Europe. I know there's some places around the world that might not have cell phones, everybody, but we were the last adults in America to live our lives without cell phones. We were the last ones. We were the last adults to experience going to clubs, drinking, dancing, socializing, networking, doing the whole Hollywood thing, doing the whole band thing. I was the last. Me and my friends were the last ones, and everybody who was around Hollywood, our age, to be 22, 23 years old, clubbing, going out. We didn't say clubbing because we were white. We were the last to go out and drink, go out to hang out without cell phones being a thing. And to be honest with you, I liked it better. I liked it better. And then it started creeping up where, pretty soon, at like 25, then it started getting weird before even anybody noticed, pretty soon I'm 25 years old and I'm at some fucking bar drinking and some like buddy wants my phone number, my cell phone number. I'm like, okay, here's my cell phone number. It was just like, it started becoming very normal to ask somebody for their cell phone number. I'm going to give me your number and I'll text you my number. With the old, format. You see like the old, whatever, pixelated, numbers. I remember that. It took me a while though. So if you're like thinking, well, shit, 15, 16 years ago, I was on Facebook and I was very active with my phone. Yeah, that's you, but not everybody was. Yeah, it wasn't like just overnight everybody had a cell phone, a smartphone. Smartphones, there was a lot of people 15 years ago that didn't have a smartphone. A lot of fucking people. It's like, smartphone, what the fuck's a smartphone? And then apps. I remember the first time I heard about apps, I was whatever, like 20 years old or whatever. My friend Jamie, she had a smartphone or whatever with an app. It was when apps were just coming out. It was in the first year apps were coming out. So, let me look the directions up on my app. The fuck's an app? An ape? So, we might see a decline in cell phone usage. It's gotten ridiculous. Let's be honest. Do you know how many times my phone goes off notifications from Facebook? Friend suggestion. Some fucking 25-year-old bitch. I don't need some fucking 25-year-old bitch on my phone friend suggestion. What the fuck? That's a waste of my time. I don't need some friend, some bitch that's, like showing her figure off and how she travels around and shit. What the fuck am I gonna watch that for? No, it's some other fucking bitch, that's like all the other bitches and they think they're so fucking unique. It's child worship, I don't want fucking 25-year-old fucking bitches Facebooking me. I don't worship children, so we're starting to see a decline we're seeing a decline. Like, nobody really gives a fuck about the old celebrities, Hollywood celebrities. That kind of died out like 10 years ago. No one really watches movies. Now they're getting desperate and they're, this movie's showing for one day. Because back in the day, a movie coming out 20 years ago was a big deal and it'd be in the theaters for 3 or 4 months. See it as many times as you can before the CD comes out or whatever. So that was a thing, going to the movie theaters was a thing. When I was a teenager, a lot of, that was like one of the things to do was go to the movie theaters, even in my early 20s. Now, we were partying too much, so we never went to see the movies because we were always doing our own thing. But that kind of world is dying, I mean, does anybody go to the movie theaters anymore? Does anybody give a shit about celebrities anymore because everybody's their own little super celebrity? So it's just, I don't know about you guys, but I've had enough of, if I see one more fucking reel or content video or some bitch being funny or oh, that's so relatable with like 100 fake comments, I can't. I think I'm going to somehow mute Facebook or something. It's like, I'm busy. I'm doing shit. I don't need, friend suggestions. Some fucking bitch, some cunt that's like 25 years old trying to gather as much attention as humanly possible because she's fucking insane. And it's not just the girls doing it, there's something wrong. Okay, I'm 41 years old and I can honestly say there's something wrong with people from the age of 21 to like 30. There's something just wrong with them. I don't know what it is, but they're fucking weird and there's just something wrong with them. And I know I'm not, ageism is a thing, like, discriminating against older and younger people. I'm sure there's some people in their 20s. Like, I met some people in Portland that were in their 20s and they were legit. They were cool. It's not everybody in their 20s, but there's a lot of young people and you just, I don't know if their brain's on a different frequency, but it's just, and a lot of it's just getting older too. I go on Instagram or Facebook and I'll see some fucking hipsters that are, doing the urban thing and they're like 24 and they have some shitty fucking apartment. And I'm like, God, I remember that. That was like 5 years ago. Oh my gosh. Gingy! Ginger smiling. Well, now that my voice is officially... Oh my gosh. Now that my voice is officially fucking hoarse, I have to record. I'm recording the last song on my album right now. So, the first part of the live was all about my album that I'm dropping in October 14th. You'll be able to pre-order my full-length album on August 14th. I'll have a link on my Instagram, Trevor6Wright, Trevor6Wright, WRIGHT. My Instagram, I'll have a link on there. It's my second full-length album this year, and I released a 6-song EP called 5, which did well. I'm surprised, actually, how many sales I got from that one. I don't know how many sales I got, but I made way more money on my 5 EP than I did my album. But anyways, this album, 8-song album, it sounds incredible. And then I have a 3-song EP dropping in like 3 days. I'm Gonna Be There is gonna be on this 3-song EP. Now, I'm Gonna Be There is gonna be on the album in October, but it's mastered, it sounds way better, all the levels, like sounds a lot better, the version on the album. But you'll be able to hear more or less like a demo of it being released in like 3 days. It will be streaming. And somebody asked me a question on one of my previous YouTube videos, and she was like, is this a new song you've written? I don't know if it's a girl. I just seemed like a girl who commented it. But it was just said something along the lines is like, oh, did you write this? Or not did you write this? She said, is this a new song you wrote? I forget how she worded it. But I thought that was interesting that she said that, because usually people don't ask that kind of question unless they're a musician or a songwriter or a true fan of music. I'm releasing a new song and they're asking me, did you just write this song? And it's like, no, I wrote this song 21 years ago, and I used to play it every weekend with my band for years. So no, I didn't just write it, but I'm just now recording it. Did we record I'm Gonna Be There? Because we had a album, we played at a place called The Joint in LA, and it was a great show, and so we decided to release that live recording as, a live recording. And it was called Live at the Joint. Hold Me Like a Gun, Live at the Joint was the name of the CD. And whatever, we made, a couple hundred CDs and sold them. I don't know if that's that. Man, I could just sit here and think about each show we played. The Joint. I forget if that was... I'm thinking of 2 different shows that could have been. I forget if that was the one where I had like a heckler. I had someone basically talking shit in the audience, some drunk fucker, and I just put his ass in. I put him in his place, like in front of everybody. I pulled one of the, like, I have a fucking microphone, motherfucker, and She said something. I'm like, those are small words for a small man in the audience. I don't know. I just fucking went off on this random dude in the audience, and then my band started fucking laughing, and then my girlfriend, all the girls started laughing at this dude too, and he was just like standing there with his drink. I was like, I remember my first drink. That's what I said, and then he was just like, like, damn, I didn't think this dude would call me out. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm fucking on stage, dumbass, with the fucking microphone. You think I'm just gonna not say anything? But anyways, I think that was at the joint, but I forget. It's so long ago, I forget if that interaction was on that album, because that would be great if it was. But I just honestly, I remember. I remember my first beer. I got that from Steve Martin. There's nothing original. Everything that every influencer does, everything that every band does, it's just fucking shit that's already been done before, and it's just your take on it, basically. So Steve Martin, was doing a comedy set. You okay, baby? Jeez, you got an itch. Itch right on. Gosh. Okay, so Steve Martin, obviously, comedian. Also, as well as an actor, he started at the Birdcage Theater in Knott's Berry Farm. I got a lot of roots at Knott's Berry Farm. And so anyways, someone was heckling Steve Martin at one of his, comedy sets, and he was like, I remember my first beer. Everybody fucking laughs and shit in the audience. That's crazy when, like, someone gives you shit and then you say something on stage and then, 1,000 people laugh at, like, the one dude talking shit. That shit is fucking classic. Yeah, anyways, I used that line. I was in LA playing this show and some dumbass said something, something stupid, and I was like, I remember my first beer. And then he cussed, and then I gave him shit about cussing. That was funny. It's not rock and roll unless that happens every now and then, I can't believe how much I've been working on this album. I feel, surprisingly, I don't feel stressed out or overwhelmed. I don't have anxiety, which when I was really just finishing up, recording 5 and publishing 5, I felt a lot of anxiety, and same with Dark Country. But on this one, I don't, for some reason. I don't know why. I feel zero anxiety or anything, which I think is, something supernatural. I think what it is all the work's done. I I fucking dissected and micromanaged. Yeah, I spent so many hours on this 7 songs. The songs have been recorded for a while, but I've just been perfecting them for the last week, 8-10 hours a day. So they're just sounding so good that I feel relaxed about it. And then I got to record one more song tonight. Pop, rock and roll, or it's pop, punk. It's easy. It's a fucking very, very straightforward, simple song. It's just so basic that I'm really hoping that I could probably even finish it up tonight. I was actually going to turn my computer on and start programming and doing some drum stuff, live. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Not tonight anyways. I'll do that. I'll go live and lay down some live guitar tracks or bass tracks like after this album. So yeah, I'm dropping this album, and then I'm going to do 8 music videos. I'm going to do a music video for each song on this album and have merch for sale. It's just when you spend so much time on something, especially creative, and it's a work of art, and you spend, Like I've been working on this album for over a year. I started Shadow Mountain, whatever, like a long time ago. So I've been working on these tracks for over a year. And when you spend over a year on something, part of me, I want it just to be released like next week, but I have to go through all, the steps. It's a process, there's a lot to releasing an album. There's a lot to writing music. I write music a certain way. I record music a certain way. But anyways, if I had a girlfriend or a wife right now, I'd tell her to make me something to eat. That's for sure. I probably need to eat, and then that way I could go smoke a cigarette. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this album. When this album's done, after this album, honestly, not even before it's actually released in October, I think I'm gonna go on a vacation and go to some resort for like 4 nights and just chill. I need to travel somewhere. I'm just beyond, from recording this album, I'm just beyond fucking overworked that I'm gonna go to some resort for like 4 nights and just eat some good food and fucking I was gonna say watch The Rifleman. I watch The Rifleman here every day. I don't need to go to a resort to watch The Rifleman. What I need to do is get some really good sushi. I need to get some really good sushi and turn my phone off for like 4 days and rent a car and just fucking go. Just drive somewhere. Doesn't even fucking matter where. Just rent a car, get a bunch of sushi first, and then rent a car and then just drive somewhere. I really wish I could go back to my early 20s, kind of before cell phones was a thing. I had the girlfriend, I had a band, I had a Honda, had a really nice Honda. I don't know why that's so funny. I am a martial artist, so even though I could seem like a grimy rock and roller, there is part of me that's very disciplined, black belt, Honda. I lived in South Korea. I'm basically half Asian, I just don't look it. But I'm very much, I'm clean. I'm a clean fucking person, so. Hondas, cologne. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm sorry, baby. Rambling. What it is, it's like I'm at the tail end of this album, I have one fucking song left. I've spent over a year on these other 7 songs. I only got a couple days left. The song's easy. So it's basically done. The album is basically finished. And I'm just, sitting here like, it's crazy, man. It's, the album's finished. It's going to be available for pre-order August 14th. I'm going to promo the fuck out of this album, pardon my French. But I'm going to be posting a reel every single day. Starting next week, I'm going to drop the name of the album, the image, and I'm going to start dropping samples of the actual mastered tracks, whatever, 10-second, 15-second reels. And I'm going to promo this album like crazy. And I don't care if it gets fucking 200 views a day. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to promo this. I'm going to fucking lose followers promoting this album. That's how much I believe in this album. I'm going to be putting videos on YouTube, Instagram. And then and then the music videos, I'm going to do a music video for each song on this album because these songs are so produced that they could hold a music video for sure. They're going to be low budget music videos. It's going to be real. It's going to be real music videos, but they're going to be low budget, simple, basic shit. Me fucking in New Mexico desert with a fucking guitar, with the drone flying around me. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm officially burnt out. I think I went live for, what, is that an hour? Is that an hour? 2 hours? All right, Rifle Man. All right, you guys have a good one. Yeah, that was exactly an hour. That's amazing. I was gonna go live for 30 minutes, but I like to hear myself talk, so that was an hour. That's reasonable. I think if I went an hour and a half or two, or even, an hour and 10 minutes, I'd be like, oh shit, I got things to do, and go live for an hour and 30 minutes. I have shit to do tonight. So, look at this. This is just bizarre. Two light blue, I was showing my firefighter's knife there. 2 light blue lighters. 2 light blue lighters. Just wanted to throw that out there. Today I'm feeling spunky. Today I'm feeling chatty. Feeling chatty today. And then tomorrow I will feel stressed. And then naughty. And then I actually feel over there fabulous. Okay. All right. Y'all have a great one. Take care. Pre-order on August 14th. New album dropping.